We are in the hottest time of year, and public school is back in full swing. This comes as a recent state audit revealed that a program during the Ige administration to cool classrooms fell short and was extremely costly. Joining us now this morning is Governor Josh Green. Aloha and good morning, Governor. Thanks for stopping by with us.
Good morning.
So this program, I think it was launched back in 2016, 830 classrooms, but it did cost $105 million. That's about $120,000 per classroom. A lot of it didn't work out that well. What would you like to see as far as cooling classrooms is concerned?
Well, my focus, instead of cooling the classrooms, is amping the teacher salaries, making sure we don't have a shortage of teachers. I think the priority should be that and not on engineering air conditioners in classrooms. Although we have to have the classrooms be comfortable for students, I really think it's more comfortable if they've got great teachers. So that's why we amp their salaries. I'm going to focus on salaries for teachers.
Another thing that a lot of people have been focusing on, Chief of War. It's out. Jason Momoa, been a fantastic series. Lilo and Stitch was a big hit movie over the summer.
Yes.
But some of the Hawaii film industry are talking about how things are struggling right now. Is that an important industry to you, and what would you like to see done?
It is. We're going to make tourism a part of film and film a part of tourism. We're going to seamlessly integrate those. I'm watching the reviews and also the ratings very carefully with Apple and Jason's team. What we'd like to do is do some extra tax credits actually for film, because that creates local jobs. It also would be helpful if we had some local studios. So I've tasked Kali Watson, DHHL, and those guys to take a look at some of their land to see if they can build studios for local filmmakers, particularly Hawaiian filmmakers. So increase the tax credits, have a consideration for cultural film. As you can see, and I hope everyone watches Chief of War, it is amazing. Congratulations to the team of Jason and his folks, because that is putting Hawaii on the map as far as an epic film. But we want to have, instead of some of that filming going on in New Zealand, we want to have over half of it in Hawaii. When you see the show, you can see how it just shows the spectacular landscape of Hawaii, and it's going to help us.
Yeah, it is stunning visually, as well as the storytelling, the acting. It is incredible. Speaking of industry here in the islands, artificial intelligence set to be a disruptor all across the world. Our stock market right now seems to be dominated by 7 companies. How do you think AI will impact us here in the islands?
One of the reasons that AI is going to be very important is because we have a shortage of workforce. We're already about 30% short in all disciplines, including state government. So we're hopeful that AI will help augment what we do with our great people. But AI has a great future in many areas, for instance, in healthcare. And we talked a little bit about this before the show. AI is already doing things like finding the pathway to treat infectious diseases which have been resistant to treatment. By having that kind of process, decreasing costs overall over long term because people don't get hospitalized, it'll be big. Pretty clearly, you're going to have more energy, though. You're going to have a lot more energy if you have AI hubs. And so we're going to have to up our energy game, as will every other state, if they want to have a big AI center. So that's another piece of what we've got to do. But I'm kind of bullish on AI. I think it's a big part of the future.
You talk about energy. It is very electricity intensive. As far as the big, beautiful bill that President Trump and Congress had passed, it does cut subsidies to solar as well as wind, though it does keep subsidies for geothermal as well as nuclear. How do you think that'll impact us here in the islands?
Well, we will try to amp geothermal for sure. I'm in deep conversations with the military on many levels. May talk about that more later today, but the opportunity to do more geothermal seems positive for us. Nuclear is not likely going to be in Hawaii's future because, number one, we haven't gone that direction as a people. We haven't really seen consensus on that as our modality of energy. Plus, it would require 2/3 of the legislature in both the House and the Senate to authorize it. More likely, we'll use other bridge energies to supplement. And I'm disappointed that they're pulling back from solar and wind. We'll see how that plays out ultimately, but I'm also somewhat optimistic that we can supplement with a little bit of LNG if we get other big investors into the state as a bridge. The future really should be fully renewable, so geothermal, wind, solar. And governors and governments and presidents come and go, but these large energy questions remain, and we got to get to 2045 and be fully renewable. Someday on the horizon, 20 years out, you're going to have hydrogen fusion, and that's going to also be a super game changer. And also storage. We should be investing more in storage, because now that storage can go past 12 hours in many places, that means you can absorb the solar and keep it into the night and keep it into the next day if you have to. So that's kind of a game changer too.
Yeah, the technology is advancing rapidly. You see on the horizon, now on the horizon, the new Aloha Stadium. Big step forward last week with the developer Aloha Halawa District Partners. 22,500 is the ideal capacity for that right now. And then also set to open in March of 2029. What do you think about the development?
Well, 22,500 seats is a start. We think of that as kind of phase one. I'd like to get us up to 35 or 38,000 over time. Stanford is a great developer. We have incredible trust and history with him. So what we'd hope is, and this is their plan, to go through phase one, do the 22,500 seats, and then phase two, as soon as there's more money, to go to that larger 35 to 38,000 seat stadium. We are still talking about the possibilities of getting it ready for 2028. We want to be cautious about that. I don't want to put too much pressure on them, but Stanford would like that to happen. So he's bringing in some other investors. He's been really working hard, as have I, to find another big partner so that they can put in 300, 400, 500 million extra dollars and not just accelerate the project, but get it big enough so that we are a major Division I player. This is a big project for us. You know, we inherited a fair number of clunker policies, if I may be nice about it. Like the air conditioning situation could have been done better. The stadium should have been teed up many years ago and just approved, because if you go, you don't have the delays and the extra costs. So what I'm trying to do is get our team super motivated to get this done. But any major state that wants to attract, you know, serious tourism, lots of travelers, concerts, football, maybe Major League Soccer, rugby, you have to have a good stadium. And so we will have one. We intend to start demolitioning this current stadium, the Aloha Stadium, maybe even with a little fireworks show. I'm hearing from some of the guys just to celebrate progress and thank people this fall. So we break down the stadium with some of the initial monies, we bring extra investors, and we build something special.
Yeah, interesting to think about expansion potentially in the future. Very cool. You are also negotiating with the military for 3 different land leases here in Hawaii. How's that going so far?
It's going well. You know, the military did come, let's see, Secretary of the Army Driscoll, good guy. Talked to him, got to spend many hours with him, and we're now talking almost daily. He came and said they'd like to accelerate the completion of the leases. When I said that we inherited some issues from past governments, this is one of them. This should have been done years and years ago. The lease expires in 2029 on Big Island, where they really have to have Papakuloa. We can't just walk away from these things. We have a serious responsibility for national security. I take it seriously, but they want to accelerate it. So everyone should keep in mind the following. If we don't get this done, if we can't come to some kind of consensus, the president and the administration does have the right, and I don't like it, but they have the right to eminent domain the property and just take it from us and then decide what they're going to give us in trade. Instead, I will negotiate a strong deal where we have a lot more land come back. Hopefully, Makua Valley will come back to us. Hopefully, we will get some significant amount of resources, which I'm negotiating, to go to Native Hawaiian organizations to clean up the munitions. I'm also talking to them about other things, like getting to do some of the geothermal so we can do exploration, which is expensive, to help our energy picture. I'm also humbly asking the military to build a lot more housing so that they house a lot more of their folks, so that we have more opportunities to put our people, the people that have lived in Hawaii for generations, into housing that becomes more available. So this is nothing to trifle with, but it is something that we've inherited as a big issue, and I'm going to push hard. So hopefully before the end of the calendar year, we'll be able to do several things. Exchange ideas. I'd like to take it to the public, get input. We will be focusing on conservation and protection of lands, but ultimately I can't just let the federal government make decisions unilaterally, like you're seeing in some cases on the mainland with the National Guard. I can't let that kind of thing happen. So it's my responsibility to have a working relationship with the president and his team to make sure that they respect us enough that we make decisions together. That's my approach. I know a lot of people would just like to, you know, throw an overhand right and then, you know, fight it out in social media. That's not productive for our people. So I want energy and housing and military leases that make sense for us. And then maybe we'll see real progress on some of these issues rather than them languish for decades.
Yeah, social media definitely not the place that things get done. No. Governor Green, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Aloha.
Aloha.